Hello, Pirate Dave here, and it is time for another Phantom Daily story. This time, daily story number 13, The Game of Alvar. Who is Alvar? What is his game? It's a very mysterious title. I do enjoy it. However, look at the color of this cover. It's it's hard to describe exactly what color that is. Somewhere in between yellow and green. Very odd. To recap the previous story, which was The Seahorse, Diana Palmer had joined the charming Baron Danton aboard his yacht at the behest of her mother, who was trying to get her interested in people that do not live in the jungles of Bengala in the Skull Cave. But while aboard the yacht, Diana discovers that Baron Danton is part of a spy ring, and Danton, in order to blackmail her, makes her sign a charter for the spy ring so that if they're ever caught, she's implicated too. The Phantom just happens to be by at the time and does save Diana, but the damage is done and she is implicated in the spy ring. So the Phantom rushes to clear her of any guilt of any wrongdoing by tracking down Baron Danton and bringing him to justice. He is eventually successful, but in the course of that experience, the Phantom is believed to be dead by Diana, and we see this very charming, this very romantic gesture by Diana, where she's willing to kill herself in order to kill Baron Danton just to get revenge on him because she believed he killed the Phantom. It's a very romantic, charming story. I do recommend that you check it out. But the Phantom was okay. He was alive. Diana realizes it at the last second and doesn't kill herself and Baron Danton. And the Phantom, in the course of trying to bring Danton to justice, leads to Danton's death. And so the game of Alvar takes place just on the heels of that. Diana and the Phantom are taking it easy back in America. And let's go ahead and join them on the docks of New York City. It looks like they're just strolling along the wharf when they come along these crates marked Z.O.Z farm tools. Diana's really interested in them. She finds it to be an exotic name, but the Phantom Phantom suggests she doesn't consider it any longer. Meanwhile, she changes the subject to a cruise that Lily, her mother, wants them all to take so that they can get better acquainted. Phantom's not really down for cruises. He's got a lot of responsibilities. So they have a little bit of a disagreement back and forth. But meanwhile, there's a couple of thugs on the wharf. They don't like anybody snooping around the crates. And so they decide that they're going to intimidate the Phantom and Diana, not knowing who he is, of course. And we're going to see how that goes well for them. Surely the Phantom will be. Sorry, surely the Phantom will be intimidated, will he not? These pages are getting a little stuck together. But the Phantom, of course, is not intimidated, and he knocks out one of the thugs. Knocks out the other thug. As long as this is a private dock, we'll leave. Good night. Didn't know it was a private dock. Diana, if your mother really wants me to take that cruise, he immediately goes back to the subject that they were talking about. Diana remarks how amazing that is, of course. But meanwhile, the thugs are amazed by the encounter that they just had. And Diana mentions to Lily that the Phantom has agreed to go on the cruise. So they do. And meanwhile, on the cruise, we see Mr. Alvar. And of course, all we know is from the title of the story, which is mentioned in the last panel of the previous story. So the audience at the time would know the name to Alvar, that this guy's going to be important in some reason. Mr. Alvar has taken a liking to Diana. Her beauty has caught his eye. And so he invites her to tea. But Diana is not interested. Completely understandable. Until she realizes that Mr. Alvar is the chairman of the Z.O.Z company. The Z.O.Z? Is that Z.O.Z Farm Tools? And Diana remembers the wharf and the odd name. She was oddly intrigued in the mystery behind Z.O.Z Farm Tools. It's such an exotic name. And she agrees to take Mr. Alvar up on his offer. Meanwhile, the Phantom has been sleeping during the day because that's just how his schedule works. And he spots Diana at dinner with Alvar. And Mr. Alvar is laying on the charm really thick. He dances with Diana. Phantom watches all of this, and he decides he's gonna take advantage of Diana. He goes in for a kiss. The Phantom steps in and knocks Alvar out. Look at that. Now, go on with your dancing. Cold as ice. Cold as ice, Ghost who walks. And the Phantom, I saw you. You had tea with him. You danced with him. He kissed you. It was great. I love these close-ups that Raymore, and you're going to see a lot of them in this story. Raymore really kicks up his artistry on the illustrations here. Diana explains that she was just interested because she found out that he was in charge of Z.O.Z tools, and the Phantom, you can see he's relieved there. He's got a little bit of a smile. But he tells her, you don't need to be doing this detective stuff. We're on a pleasure cruise. You're just gonna get into trouble and cause more mischief. Meanwhile, Alvar, Mr. Alvar, is sore about being decked by the Phantom. Understandably so, right? Mr. Alvar is, of course, in the wrong by trying to woo Diana, but for all intents and purposes, he doesn't know that Diana is engaged or has a boyfriend or anything, and he just gets knocked out for pursuing her. Lily, Phantom, and Diana exit the cruise, but Mr. Alvar is not finished with him. The man hit me, made a fool of me in front of the girl. See that he does not return. And as they're taking a carriage into the island city, the carriage is stopped by Mr. Alvar's thugs. The Phantom is taken off, and the thugs whack the horses to get it to separate from the Phantom and Diana. And I see again these panels with Diana. Great close up here. She looks absolutely gorgeous. Looking back at what's going on with the Phantom, I think he'll probably be okay, but let's see. They order the Phantom to take off his coat, and they see his uniform as well as his guns, but they don't go in. They're just going in with bats, trying to hit the Phantom, not trying to shoot him. This guy, Phantom, stopped him. Your hands made of iron? What do we get into here? I'm the one to ask the questions. I want to know what this is all about. If you want a shooting match, I'm ready. If you don't, drop your guns. No, don't shoot. Not here. Not here. The bullets might go wild. And they run off. That's interesting. What is this? Look at this 2-panel spread. Raymore's going to do a lot of these in this story, too. They're going to be very great. Phantom watches the thugs run off. And why would they not want a shooting match here? And so he breaks open some of the crates and he sees grenades and firearms. These are not farm tools. Mr. Alvar's game is a smuggling munitions to the mainland. He uses this island as a turnover spot. So Phantom steals a horse and he chases after the carriage, which apparently the carriage driver has lost control of the horses. So the Phantom has to race ahead and grab the horses. And look at this great musculature and illustration on the horses there. We don't get to see a lot of horses drawn by Raymore over the course of these last almost 20 stories, but oh man, he's got a talent for it. Phantom is pretty sore at the cab driver there. Reunites with Diana. Looks like all's going to be well for now. Phantom reveals to Diana that her little detective game was actually valid and was justified. Z.O.Z Farm Tools is smuggling weapons to the mainland, and now that the Phantom knows, he's mixed up in it. Diana pleads with him to just let it go and they'll continue with their cruise, but the Phantom has to let the local police chief know. But the police chief immediately does not trust the Phantom. Mr. Alvar is our most prominent citizen. Who are you to make such an accusation? And it looks like the police chief is actually in deeper than anybody thought. Somebody was in here about A. I don't know who he was. You'd better get in touch with A right away. So the Phantom, not having any success with the police chief, goes to the mirror, and that's where he sees, is this the man, Mr. Alvar? Mr. Alvar is already waiting there. He claims the Phantom assaulted him, assaulted 3 of his workmen. He's not wrong. And he gets the Phantom arrested. We get a little story recap in this top strip here. And you can see these 2-panel spreads are cropping back up. Sure enough, Mr. Alvar is in deep with the mayor. He's in deep with the police chief. And he tells the officers to put him in solitary confinement in a straitjacket. Meanwhile, Diana and Lily are waiting at the ship for the Phantom. He said he'd just be by after he stopped by the police chief, but he has not returned yet. And it looks like the Phantom's going to be taken into custody. He's a tough one. Before you put on the straitjacket, soften him up with the blackjack. Mr. Alvar's thug goes in for the strike. Meanwhile, Diana is not happy waiting for the Phantom any longer. Neither is Good Boy Devil there. Look at that. They jump off the ship. Oh man, these awesome! Look at this awesome panel of Diana and Devil running side by side on the pier. Really great. Meanwhile, Alvar's thug sneaks up behind the Phantom to whack, but the Phantom spins around and clacks him on the jaw. He heard him coming up from behind, and the Phantom is loose. Mr. Alvar doesn't know quite yet that his plans have not gone to fruition, but when he opens the door, his thugs collapse on top of him, and they see a skull mark on their jaws, the sign of the Phantom. Meanwhile, the Phantom is trying to escape. He goes through this courtyard of soldiers, but they don't know that anything's wrong with it, so he's just sort of strolling. And again, like I mentioned, Raymore really kicks up the illustration here. Just this environment with the soldiers and the courtyard, it's all really detailed. I love the angle on it. Very, very cool. Phantom is strolling through the courtyard as if nothing happened, but as he is, the police chief yells out the window, "Stop that man!" And the courtyard is alive with soldiers chasing after the Phantom, and bullets are just whizzing by as it's in a total war zone in this courtyard here. We've even got a machine gun nest set up there. Look at that. Phantom is firing back, but meanwhile, Diana and Devil are still looking for the Phantom, and they rush off. Wherever that wherever that shooting is, that's where he'll be. That is true, Diana. And so she rushes to the courtyard, but she finds herself in the middle of this shootout. It's very dangerous, and she drops to the ground, covers Devil as well, stops Devil from maybe freaking out or rushing off, possibly getting hit. It's a very touching panel here with her cuddling Devil there. Diana, the Phantom sees them. He grabs a melon and just shot puts it, knocks out that machine gun for now. Picks up Diana. Meanwhile, a couple of soldiers are still shooting at him, and as the Phantom is racing off with Diana in his arms, this time the Phantom is not so lucky. One bullet strikes home. He staggers, then continues his daring flight. The Phantom has been shot in the back by a soldier while he was fleeing. Of course, he's putting on the act for Diana, being strong for her as Devil rushes off to lead the soldiers away. He's gonna distract the soldiers while Diana and the Phantom hide underneath this bridge. And again, the environment work that Moore is doing here. I love this little panel here as they're just hiding beneath with the soldiers running overhead. The soldiers fall for it. They chase after Devil. Meanwhile, the Phantom is telling Diana that she's got to get back to the ship. She's got to leave him. Good boy, Devil. Gave him the slip, did you? Diana, this is a real jam. The whole army's after me, and the mayor and the police chief of the island are part of Alvar's munitions smuggling racket. I want you to leave. And he's trying, because he doesn't want to say exactly what has happened. He doesn't want to admit that he's been shot in the back. Meanwhile, they reported to Mr. Alvar that the Phantom got away, and so they bring out the dogs. They're going to track down the Phantom. And Diana promises him if they can, come up with an escape plan, they'll do it. But Phantom, I'll arrest him and then head for them. But you're going back to the dock and catch the next ship out. He is out of it, man. I'll tell you what. Sure enough, they try to make their flight. The dogs are on the scent. As they're running ahead, the Phantom staggers. Oh. Diana sees that he's not right behind her, and he collapses to the ground. Look at that, and the dogs are on their scent. That's when Diana realizes that the Phantom is wounded, and the Phantom starts on this map, this island. It's only a mere dot in the ocean. Strange to die here. He's starting to accept his fate. He's regretting that they didn't get married first. This is so. And Diana is just, she's watching this superhero that she's known for, these last couple of years just collapse in front of her. Meanwhile, the dogs are closing in. Diana's ready to make her last stand. Let them come. Dogs of Alvar, they're closing in on this. Getting closer. I think those are like schnauzers. Meanwhile, what is Diana gonna do? Just then, Devil races off. He streaks towards the dogs. Oh, look at that. And he takes them out one by one. Good boy, Devil, good boy. Chasing off those dogs. Oh my goodness. And the guards are just flabbergasted watching these dogs race out of the wood, fearing for their lives. And they chase after the dogs, of course, not knowing what's going on. They think that maybe they are chasing a new lead, but the dogs are running for their lives. It's amazing. And look at that. And taking a moment to thank Devil for his bravery. And yeah, good boy, Devil. And Devil licking his master. But meanwhile, the Phantom is he's still in a bad way, and Diana doesn't really know exactly what she's gonna do. And you're getting these really emotional panels. They're so great, so tremendous. Diana realizes that she's not gonna get anything done standing here over the Phantom, and meanwhile, she has Devil to do that. So she takes off to find a doctor, and the first man that she comes across, she asks for a doctor. This is a little this is a little unfortunate and disturbing. The man offers to show her the way, and he even goes so far as to grab her. But that's when she pulls out the pistol and tells him to keep moving. What a it, it, again, like it's a small moment, but it's this moment of vulnerability to show that Diana is on her own, and she's doing whatever she can to stay safe, because even people with the best of intentions, perhaps, right, can turn out to be sinister. And so the man said that there was a doctor nearby. She goes to the closest house. She finds the doctor, in fact, and leads him back to the Phantom. You see the doctor finding the Phantom in the field. He's masked, and there's a wolf. What a scene for him to just walk into, right? He doesn't know exactly what's going on. Once he realizes that the Phantom has been shot, as is protocol for the doctors, he says he has to report it to the police at once. But that's when Diana pulls out the gun and forces him to operate on the Phantom. He doesn't believe that Diana will shoot him, but per his duty and his ethic, he does his job, even though he needs a clean place. He needs a clean room. He's got to be moved to a hospital, but he can't be moved because it's too dangerous. And so Diana gets to work. She starts building a fire and sterilizing some water so that the doctor can work. She is really coming into her own here. And we knew that Diana was a strong woman right from the very first panel of the story, but this story is right from the very first panel of the series back in 1936. This story is really hammering it home. The doctor is successful, but he says the Phantom will be unconscious for at least 48 hours, and we don't know. But that's when the Phantom wakes up. The doctor is amazed. He can't move like that. He should be helpless, unconscious. I'll take a moment and mention that the Phantom doesn't have powers. Remember, he's supposed to be a prime man. He's supposed to be probably one of the greatest male specimens to ever live, apart from his ancestors, right? His line is just supposed to be genetically, superior, for lack of a better term. That sounds really wrong, but genetically really, optimal. But it's moments like this where it's like, Okay, it's for comics purposes and it's to move the story along, but this is really it's hard to argue that he doesn't have any powers when he's he gets up and he's not in the best condition, right? He's still groggy and he's still staggering, and he's even got to lean on Diana and the doctor there, but to bounce back from that so quickly. And sure enough, the doctor does convince him to come back to his home, and he keeps him for a few days. But the Phantom is pretty much all well. The doctor did a great job on him, saved him. Phantom finally takes an opportunity to thank Diana. Diana, being the wonderful, wonderful woman that she is, does not neglect to give Devil the credit he deserves. And look at that. The Phantom lifts Diana into the air and kisses her. And I mean, Devil doesn't get a lift in the air or a kiss, but okay, I guess he can just I guess he's a good boy. He knows he's a good boy. So meanwhile, Alvar and the mayor are talking about how the Phantom has not been found. He must be dead because I mean that bullet would have killed anybody. But of course, they don't know the ghost who walks. Meanwhile, the Phantom's last ditch effort is to go to the governor. He's gone to the police chief, the mayor, and now he's going all the way up the chain to the governor, and he reveals the police chief and the mayor are corrupt. They're working with Alvar. Meanwhile, somebody's listening at the door and lets Alvar know that the Phantom is talking to the governor. And sure enough, the governor immediately believes him. I didn't think you'd be convinced so easily, Governor. Convinced? I've known for months that my staff's riddled with spies. Now I know who's behind it all. Well, it looks like the governor's immediately going to be on the Phantom's side and believe him. That's very convenient. But when a guy like Alvar, when a scum like Alvar leaves such a slime trail, people are going to notice. Mr. Alvar makes it to the governor's mansion, and but if something goes wrong, Mr. Alvar, we can't turn back now. If you fail, my soldiers will shoot you. By mistake, go on. He makes everybody go along with his plan. Apparently, he's going to kill the governor and frame the Phantom for doing it. So all of his soldiers pile out, and they're shooting out the governor's mansion there. So the governor and the Phantom and Diana race to a nearby garage. We'll hold them off in here. They bring out machine guns. But Mr. Alvar, that garage has gasoline storage tanks in it. So much the better. We'll burn them out. And looks like this trio is trapped in this gasoline-filled garage as bullets are riddling through it. And look at that, the garage goes up in flames. How are they going to get out of this one? In 5 minutes, there'll be nothing but cinders, and there'll be no one left to testify against me. Boom! A car goes crashing through the fiery doors of the garage just before it explodes. And yes, our trio has made it out of the garage in the back of a car. Meanwhile, a truck blocks off the escape to the main gate, and it looks like their escape is finished for now. Throw out your guns out the window or we'll fire through the car. I will mention they were just firing through the garage, so why don't they fire through the car? It's unimportant. It's going to create a dramatic moment, but I did just want to mention that Alvar says here, I'm taking no more chances of that hoodoo. I'll have them all shot down at once here. But, why would you bother? I'm just saying. So Alvar has them tied up against a wall for a firing squad and orders them to fire. But the firing squad doesn't fire. I wonder why. And a soldier rushes forward. I didn't recognize him without these medals. This is the governor. And that's when all heck breaks loose. Alvar's loyal soldiers and the soldiers loyal to the governor start beating on each other and civil wars, but the Phantom breaks his bonds and Alvar sees it and Alvar takes off and the chase is on. This is incredible. Everything is just completely turned 180 once these soldiers that didn't know what they were doing realized that Alvar was getting them to try to kill the governor. And it's amazing. This airplane, Alvar jumps in this plane and he takes off. Is the Phantom going to catch him? No. Words are not necessary. The unforgettable menacing figure seems to say, "Wherever you go, Alvar, I'll find you." Alvar has escaped for now. Meanwhile, the mayor is brought to justice. This corruption ring around this island has been dismantled, but Alvar is not forgetting the Phantom anytime soon, nor is the Phantom forgetting Alvar. We get a quick story recap here on this top strip. This is really where the story could end. It's very interesting, but I will say it's not where the story ends. We still have about a whole quarter of the story left to go here. So it's very interesting that Lee Falk did not break this up into its own sort of part. And again, it kind of speaks to the early trends in superhero comics, because we're still talking about the 1940s, and recurring characters, recurring villains were not common at all. It was, if you were an effective hero, you took a villain out and brought him to justice, and that was the end of it. And I think a lot of writers felt that if villains kept escaping justice and returning to do more damage, that it would be unbelievable to audiences that the hero was effective. Sorry for the sorry for the diversion there. I just thought it was interesting because this is a natural stopping point for the story, but it does not end. So the Phantom wants to bring Alvar to justice. He decides that Alvar has a secretary, and he goes and he kidnaps the secretary, brings him back to the governor's mansion, and interrogates the secretary as to where Alvar could be hiding. And sure enough, he says he went to the mainland, the rock house at the bay shore. And the Phantom, Diana wants to go with him, of course, after all they've been through. And to be fair, I think she's proven herself, but he can't put her in any more possible danger. So Diana and the Phantom do part ways for now, as the Phantom, look at this palatial estate there. Absolutely gorgeous, especially in the moonlight. The Phantom rushes off to Alvar's mainland estate. Meanwhile, Alvar is just this is an amazing panel. He's he's just sitting there being frightened deep within his palace. And so he's not ready. He's not even taking food. His thug is trying to give him some dinner. Meanwhile, the Phantom's creeping around outside. Little does Alvar know. And the thug manages to calm Alvar down a little bit to take in some food. Boss still got the shakes. He's starting to calm down. There's no reason to be afraid. He'll never find me here. He'll never find me. Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, just scared the spirit out of Alvar. Spotlights light up the outside of the palace. The Phantom has already retreated into the bushes, and he is playing some crazy mind games with Alvar. I saw his face. He's here. Lock the door. Don't let anyone in until they shoot him. It looks like they've spotted the Phantom climbing up the tower that Alvar is located in. One of the boys just yelled. They've spotted him. Looks like, stop worrying, boss. We'll get him. Oh, look at that. The Phantom's arm just reaches through the window that Alvar's in. He just watches his thug being choked out. That is amazing perspective right there. It's a little bit more realistic from our end, where it's like, because we know the Phantom's not the supernatural spirit, but Alvar does not know this. As far as he knows, this is a demon that is after him right now. It's amazing. Thug takes a shot from the outside of the tower, and the Phantom falls from the tower. But he drops through the tree line and he holds onto a branch. Little do the thugs know. They report that the Phantom is dead. It's all over, Mr. Alvar. The boys plugged him. Bring his body here. I won't believe he's dead until I see him. That's smart, Alvar. It's completely understandable. Of course, they can't find the body anywhere. They decide that we're getting out of here now. To my yacht at once. They run towards the gate, but it looks like the gate guard's sleeping. What's going on here, especially with all the activity that's happening? Sleeping on the job. Oh my gosh, he's out. There's a death head on its shore. That again, from Alvar's perspective, this has got to be so incredibly frightening. It's amazing. And I love the way that they're presenting this story here at the end. Alvar is just frightened to death. Push him out of the way, open the gates. I want to get at it from here, hurry. And so you see the Phantom rushing out from the bushes, gets on the back of the car, and they have no idea. And again, they don't see a car following them or anything. I don't know, to be honest, how they did see him through the back window, but you do see him hiding along the corner there, so maybe it's plausible. They take a skipper out to the yacht. Phantom just decides to muscle swim it out there. Get up steam, we leave at once. And Alvar relaxes in a chair, safe at last, but he is resting too soon. The Phantom climbs aboard the yacht and he breaks a chain to stop the yacht from making off. Meanwhile, steward, here's the boss's supper. Phantom, looks like the Phantom's leaving a card there. Haven't you taken that tray yet, steward? The boss is hungry. Snap to it. And it looks like Alvar is pretty confident that he's gotten away because he doesn't mind. This is the first meal in weeks that I'll enjoy eating. I've been so nervous I couldn't eat. I should have come to the yacht at once. He'll never be able to find me. Now, what's this? Just silence on the last panel. Tomorrow, wherever you go. Oh, the fan. Alvar's. Where'd this card come from? Maybe it's joke. Joke. It's a matter of life and death. He said he'd find me wherever I'd go. He'd find me. He's on this boat. And tells his boys, shoot to kill. He's on this boat. They don't even know. Yeah, shoot at what? They don't know exactly what Alvar's so scared to death of. They believe that this guy's dead. They don't know anything about him being supernatural or anything like that. And then nobody's supernatural as far as they know. Don't leave my door. Don't leave it for a second. You'll never get me now. I'm safe in here. Can't touch me now. They'll find him. Sorry for all the chuckling, but like stories like this just make me laugh. The mythology and the mysticism that they present the Phantom with is so good. This would be frightening to think that you've locked yourself in a safe room and there he is waiting for you. And it looks like it's all up for Mr. Alvar. Paralyzed with fear, Alvar tries to speak, but the words won't come. And his thugs are outside wondering what's wrong with him. You can't kill me in cold blood. If our positions were reversed, would you hesitate for one moment? No. But I'm not going to kill you. I'm taking you back to justice. And so Alvar opens up the door. He finally gets, he's here. But that's when Phantom uses him as a human shield, throws him overboard, and very cleverly keeps him between himself and Alvar's thugs so they can't take a shot on him. And even though the thugs try to chase him in a skipper, he orders Alvar to make them go back. And there goes Alvar's thugs. Tomorrow, Alvar's finish. Alvar is brought back to the island, brought to justice. That introduces him, all right, but who are you? A man who needs some dry clothes. Come on, devil. And Alvar is locked up in a jail cell. Next week, Diana. Very interesting with this particular reprinting. This is a JALPCC Pacific Comics Club reprinting, of course, that you might have seen earlier in the series. We get some advertisements in the background from Tony Raiola, who is apparently selling some Mandrake the Magician feature books, but not just Mandrake. He is also selling some Phantom feature books as well as a reprinting of The Inexorables, the World War II story that's coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll go ahead and cover that one. But for now, that's The Game of Alvar. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It's a very action-packed action-packed story. A lot is happening, right? And Alvar is really presented, even though he himself is no match for the Phantom. His resources are really presented as a very legitimate threat for the Phantom, especially for a situation where the Phantom was not even tracking him. He didn't know of Alvar. He didn't have any suspicions about him being a criminal or anything. He was just on a pleasure cruise to get to know his future mother-in-law, and just happens to run afoul of Alvar. And it was Alvar's own sort of his own egotism that led to his downfall, and the danger that was presented and put in for the Phantom and Diana, right? It's an interesting story. I remember when I first read it, I don't think I thought much of it, but in reading it now, really, I did not appreciate how much it showcases Diana in a situation where she's completely used to the Phantom being this, even though she knows that he's not supernatural, being this indestructible hero figure. And in that moment where she realizes that he's in danger, his life is in danger, she even listens to him reasoning and resolving that he's going to die on this island. She, of course, reacts as emotionally as anybody would, completely understandably, but then she kicks it into gear and she does what she needs to do, even though she's by herself against an army of people. It's not as if it's just that the Phantom's in danger, it's that the Phantom's in danger and everyone on this island is against them as far as she knows. But she gets it done. And even when she gets a doctor, it's not just as simple as her getting a doctor, right? She's got to keep the doctor there. They can't go to the hospital, they can't tell the police. So she builds a fire and boils water, and she's right there to help the doctor to do everything that she needs to do. It's so fantastic. And even Devil gets that, like, several days worth of panels, right, where he's fighting off the dogs, and he really gets a superhero moment. I did not appreciate any of that about the story when I originally read it, but in reading it now, especially having the context for hundreds of stories afterwards, those moments are tragically few and far between. It is the story for all these strips are about the Phantom, so it's understandable at the end of the day, right? Of course he's going to be the hero, and of course he's going to get most of the hero moments, but this story is so special because the Phantom gets plenty of hero moments, but we get so many touching moments, and really illustrated so magnificently by Ray Moore. It's not as if he was not illustrating the Phantom well up until this point. It's just that you see that he has come into his own. He's gotten better and better and better. And in the Seahorse, he had some really great panels. In this one, just absolute masterclass. Those close-up panels, those environmental panels, the perspective panels, and it's a small moment, but that panel where Diana and the Phantom are hiding underneath the bridge as soldiers are running over it. There's something about it. It's so complete. There's so many elements happening at the same time that really signifies to me how far he came along in these 5 years of him illustrating the character, and really was able to tell just such a complete story in that one panel. So great. Sorry, I'm rambling on, and this is approaching a 40-minute video, but it was a very, uh, developmentally dense story. So there was a lot to happen, a lot to cover. Like I said, I had a little diversion there where I took a break because the story could have ended about three-quarters of the way through, and it would have been a solid story, a really great story. And I think if this story would have been written 10 years later, after the Joker and after Hugo Strange and other characters really showed that recurring villains could work really well, I think you would have seen Alvar escape in this story, and you would have seen the Phantom chase him down and bring him to justice another day. But as it is, this is still a really fantastic story for all the reasons that I said. I don't really have any negative notes about it, to be honest. I think that other than this printing and this color, look at this. This is ridiculous. But I digress, of course. Hopefully, you enjoyed the game of Alvar. I believe next week is going to be Diana Aviatrix Lost. It's going to be another daily story because, again, there was two Sunday stories, so Aviatrix Lost came out before the next Sunday story out. So I hope you join me again next week for Diana Aviatrix Lost, daily story number 14. Thanks. Bye.